2011. Vince, one friend to another, I'm begging you, please put this one on YouTube. Include the sketches I'm sending, and I've made a couple of notations, just some simple pictures for you to grab and put on there for me, please. I promise you, and everyone out there, I promise, this month's tape for the Vault subscribers, you do not want to miss it. There's a lot of information about my recent meeting with the 7th Emperor of Nibiru, of the Anunnaki. All 9 of us had to go and meet with him individually, just to give you a quick little rehash. He's here, which is not good for you folks, for you Jakku. There is the line we've been using amongst ourselves as a joke is there's a great disturbance in the force. And I'll get into what that is in just a second. And that's why I've got to have you please post this along with my sketches, along with the pictures, please. Everybody's got to know about this. This is very dangerous. First of all, did any of you notice yourselves or those around you in particularly bad moods for no apparent reason over this last weekend, the first weekend of April? Did any of you find yourselves feeling depressed with no reason behind it? Well, I can tell you there is a specific reason behind it. There has been a big development that I myself was completely unaware of. My understanding was the members of my team were also unaware, even Sunsi, and the one that had brought it to the Emperor's attention was Awa. He had been discussing with an individual in Norway. They were having some sort of a conversation, and this island in the South Atlantic came up, this Bouvet Island, Bouvet. The United States, in exchange for some kind of consulting or technology or use of technology on Norway's large seed vault that they've been working on, had given the United States access to one of their unused territorial islands in the South Atlantic, right near the Southern Ocean. The United States, in Alaska, it's near a town called Gakona. It's a couple of 100 miles northeast of Anchorage and a couple 100 miles south of Fairbanks. It's HARP. A lot of you know about it. We've talked about it many times. High Frequency Active Aural Research Program, whatever you want to call it. There's a group within the United States military-industrial complex. Their acronym is DARPA. It's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, I believe. They do a lot of shady things, most of them harmless in the grand scheme of things. But apparently they have constructed a second HARP, a second one of these field arrays down near the Southern Ocean. And it's not on this island. It's anchored on a large, extremely large by your standards, by Earth technology standards. It's amazing. It is a large floating platform that is maybe 2 kilometers in circumference. It is absolutely gigantic. It's anchored to the sea in several places, as I understand, with these very sophisticated shock absorbers that are designed to keep the platform relatively steady, even in very violent seas. It's so large that it weathers most of the storms, as it was explained to me later, quite well. But they've been experimenting down there. with different types of frequencies, bouncing them off the upper atmosphere, and at times aiming them at certain places around the globe. Now, as to why the United States Defense Department is doing this, I do not know. Quite frankly, after I found out more about it, I very much doubt that the United States proper had anything to do with this project. I fear it might be something that is kind of a sick union between some of the members of your global ruling families and a species of beings that I refer to as the Greys. Many of you are familiar with them. They've been on the radar a lot lately. It was discovered that some of the craft hovering above nuclear facilities in the United States and Russia and China, India, the UK, France, the reports were that these weapon silos had become inoperable for a short period of time, and all these craft were above them. And the rumor began to be spread that these UFOs, as people say, were disabling the nuclear capability, the ability to bring nuclear destruction to these respective countries. Well, the information was sifted through several channels, and one of those channels is a group of individuals back on Nibiru who specialize in Jakku culture. They look for inconsistencies in current events that match patterns that some of these groups that I guess the point would be that they're trying to push the train off the tracks. Their agendas. And what they discovered was that what they believe is the Greys hovering above these nuclear silos are disabling them and basically hijacking these systems. They're impregnating the infrastructure, both the software and the hardware, if you can believe it, at these respective nuclear facilities with kind of I think the term in computer programming is a backdoor, a way for them to gain access, gain control at a later date of their choosing. Now, when the 7th Emperor of Nibiru found out about this, my understanding, and hearing this secondhand, was that there was nearly a war declared. The Greys come from a system, Zeta Reticuli. It's no secret that I have issues with them. I've never thought of them as wanting to destroy the Earth. Now, I do understand that there are many among you who will think that it might be the perfect crime for them to somehow initiate nuclear Armageddon for your people and have it in history be able to be blamed on these respective countries, civilizations. Why would they want to end yours? Well, I can't answer that right now, but I think I'll be able to within the next month or two of your time. Now, this floating platform, Vince, I want you to please put this picture on the video and post this for me, please. Just southwest of this Bouvet Island, It was this very large platform with an array even larger than the one up in Alaska. Now, when I was there, we were taken on a tour of I should back up a bit. This has gone over in the tape that I'm sending. That'll go in the vault and go out to the subscribers. You guys are going to get all of the information. This is just one that I'm begging John to please post for me along with these sketches that I'm sending, because I think this is amazing information. This is a game changer for us. So we were invited to tour the facility. We were escorted there by what looked like a United States very large helicopter. You know, as I say that, I start to think I didn't really pay much attention to the actual markings on the craft. It was very large. At the time, there was kind of a lot of chaos. I had gotten a ride on a Russian naval vessel, and this craft was allowed to land and pick me and two other individuals, whom I shall not name at this time. Now, the island itself is very difficult to get to. It's basically an extinct volcano with ice filling up the extinct crater. There's not much there. But I'll tell you what, if there was ever a place on this planet that you wanted to keep something secret, this area of the globe is as good as any. So why do you think they would try this? Why do you think I would connect people being in bad moods over the first weekend of April with what's going on at this facility? Well, the reason is we started looking at some of their logs. As we were touring the facility, you could see there was various data on people's desks that was visible on monitors. There was one conference room, they called it a war room or something like that, with a very large table that had a printout of some of the experiments they'd done. And there was a very large spike in this graph, and I'll give you two guesses as to what the date was. It was March 11th. We were all taken aback by that. We asked if this had anything to do with the earthquake, the tsunami in Japan. They said nothing. They didn't answer. They said that would be answered in a debriefing, or we could ask all questions in the debriefing, is what they would say. If you would hold your questions for now, we'll answer all of them in the debriefing. We'll follow the tour. It was the men and women who took us around this facility seemed very well rehearsed in their roles. Made me wonder, as we were going around this large platform, which is basically a floating, it's its own island, I guess is the way to put it. But it's completely, I would say, man-made, but I doubt it. There has to be some outside influence that we are at this moment unaware of that is assisting whoever built this platform with this technology. Now, Allah brought it to the Emperor's attention through the proper channels, and he got upset and came here to deal with this firsthand, is my understanding of it. Now, if any of you have ever been on an Anunnaki ship, you know what I mean. They're magnificently large. Fortunately, your moon of your planet always faces the same way. So it's very easy when ships come here, when beings come here in a craft that is large, that would be easily detectable by your surveillance systems, that we can park it behind the moon and you don't see it. Of course, there's other technologies employed, but it's a good place, as any, if you don't want to be found. And it's amazing to me. You know, we've been talking about this South Atlantic anomaly now for months. People wondering what the physics behind it is, basically. Is it a fluke, or is it something that's actually being made, being controlled by some entity that we're unaware of? It comes out that, at least our belief, is that the reason this South Atlantic anomaly exists, the reason why satellites don't like to orbit above it, the reason why ships avoid traversing this area, the reason why air traffic goes around it, is because there's something very much secret here. Now, some of you may say, how can these sound waves, or these, how can this possibly change a planet's mood? And I don't know, truthfully, if it was meant to change the planet's mood. But the experiment was on the table and we saw it. The experiment was, they were trying to see if they could make North America, in particular the United States and Canada, the words were, in a bad mood for the weekend. It's amazing, don't you think? Maybe I'm overanalyzing this, or I'm exaggerating the possibilities. But the CIA, I know, was involved in mind control experiments. They have been for decades, with marginal successes and some very significant success. But you've got to understand, 90+% of the CIA operates within the confines of the law. And anything that has to do with mind control is laughed at by many of the other agencies. And when I say mind control, I don't know if that's accurate. I don't. I can tell you this much, though. The idea behind these types of technologies is to take a volatile situation, much like the one we have right now in many parts of the globe, in particular, though, the Middle East, and alter the mood of a vast majority of the population who is susceptible to these low and high frequency waves of sound, to change their behavior, to alter their behavior, to push them in one direction or another. Now, there was another experiment that was labeled the Big Calm. It was in a folder. I didn't see it. I don't know if any members of my party saw it. At the time, I was absolutely shocked and amazed at what I was looking at. This facility, this floating enormous platform in the middle of the ocean, that is the most, by Jacques standards especially, the most technologically advanced machine I have ever seen in all my years on your planet. I'm very interested to find out who has been involved in the creation of this technology. The device itself, this array that mimics HAARP, there's a very large flux gate magnetometer, I think is the technical name for it. The HAARP array, most of you have seen probably pictures of that. This facility is at least 10 times, this array is at least 10 times that size. In everyone's bodies, myself included, there are minute amounts of metal. some is susceptible to magnetic influence. When you live on a planet for a long time, as all of you have, your body's makeup, your physical makeup, becomes aligned with the magnetic field of your planet. By altering that magnetic field, even in a very minute fashion, you can actually create physical discomfort, a feeling of uneasiness in human beings. Delving into technology of this sort crosses a line that we cannot allow humans to cross. Not at this time. This facility is going to need to be destroyed. I'm not making any threat. Please, don't come after me. Certainly don't come after Vincent. I'm not making any threat. I'm saying the individuals who have put this facility together need to take it apart, dismantle it. And we need to bring this into the public attention in order for this to happen. And we're very serious about this. Now, could the powers that be, could my bosses destroy this facility? Yes. It's been discussed, I can tell you that much. I think it's very obvious after some of the discourse that's leaked out over the last few weeks. But they'd rather not. The timeline right now is crucial, but several of what you refer to as initiates, individuals in your global elite who have been made privy to certain knowledge that others you view may have not. I find that most people who believe these individuals, these humans who call themselves initiates, they have a certain aloof quality to them often, and I find it very off-putting, very uncomfortable to be around. But their information, these ancient truths they believe they hold secret to, are about to be laid bare. And this is all going to begin happening in rapid succession. And something like this type of technology that has the ability to alter an incredibly large group of people's psyche is very dangerous. So I would like, please, Vince, put this on YouTube for me. Scan in the drawings I'm sending you and make a little video out of it, please. And I promise that you will be blown away with my long tape that I'm sending regarding my meeting with the 7th Emperor of Nibiru, whose names cannot be written, Lord of the Anunnaki, to be formal about it. And those of you who have listened to this, please show Vince that putting these videos on YouTube free of charge matters to you, that you would like to still have access to this information. Go to 5sks.com, Vince's little band website. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be insulting when I say that, but it's what he calls it. 5sks.com and donate $1. $1. That's all. That's all I'm asking. Please, if you listen to this, if you find value in what I have to say, I'm trying to push. Tania, I think, is on my side. Khufu and Ray are more against it than Vince is. I love the idea of the vault for the long tapes. I think that's great for everybody to be able to get everything all in one place for a low amount. But these YouTube videos, we used to have so much fun with them. And that's what I want to get back to. But Vince is never going to do it if I can't show him that people will pay $1 an episode or something like that. So that's my begging you for your dollar. Some of you may poke fun at that. I feel very sorry for those of you who do. There's a lot of people who very much care about the fate of this planet. They're not messing around. They're not playing games. And some of them have agendas that are vastly different than yours. Some of their plans do not include you. You need to become aware of what's going on. You need to be making contingency plans for the next 2 years at least. But I'm going to lay everything bare. This long tape that I'm going to send Vince for April about my meeting with the Emperor, I guarantee you, will be my most controversial, provocative, poignant, and just explosive recording that I have ever made. Yahweh out.